I didn't see it. That thing, it doesn't look like it's on. Don't make that noise. Okay.
You are listening to Decaf, a weekly podcast by the Beacon Center of Tennessee. I'm Taylor, and I'm joined again by Mark, dynamic duo back in action.
2 weeks in a row?
2 weeks in a row. It's got to be like some kind of record for us over the summer. I feel like everyone's on vacation.
That's right.
So we're just going to jump right into our topics for this week. First one I want to talk about is kind of a sad one. Ross Perot. That was a sad loss for America.
Very sad. He was 89, too. I thought he was 110. I didn't know.
I was going to say like 115.
I know. Like, he looks not great. I mean, well, that's not, he's dead, so I shouldn't insult him. But he did not look great before.
But...
And, like, when he ran for office, he looked the same now as he did when he ran in 1992.
You can either say he didn't age or he aged really poorly on the front end.
We'll say didn't age. Yeah, that's a really nice... We'll say Ross Perot did not age. He's the ageless wonder.
From 92 on, Ross Perot
exactly
was
the same.
Ageless wonder. This is like a terrific eulogy we're giving.
Yeah, oh God, do not let us speak at his funeral. That would be awful.
Don't let him speak at the funeral.
But I will say that, like, I know that my dad really liked him. My dad voted for him in 92, and, like, I know he was very, like, disenfranchised with the Clinton, George H.W. Bush thing. And he's like, well, I mean, at least I like the guy's smart and he understands economics.
Well, and that's kind of where I am as far as my voting strategy goes. I always vote. I think it's really important to vote, but I tend to be a person who votes for who I like rather than who's like strategically the best person to vote for, because it is my vote. And so I don't know. I can't say that I wouldn't have voted for him if I was all of 1 year old.
Yeah, it's 90. Yeah, that's right. 1 year. Hey, soon they're gonna have laws to make 1 year olds be able to vote.
Seriously,
I know it's not. Really, it's not far away. That's right.
The kids. But I've seen a lot on social media and a lot of articles that have been written about how he's kind of ahead of his time. Like now in America, we desperately need a third party candidate. I think that a lot of people would say, because a lot of people don't really identify with either party and they need that third option. Now, whether or not a three-party system would work in America, I don't know, and I don't really think so, but I am a little jaded.
And I remember, like, I took a political science class, and in 92, they had a Time magazine, like, article saying, like, he's ahead in the polls, but can he win the presidency? So Ross Perot's actually winning at some point in that thing. Like, he could have been a president. He's, I think, the only legitimate third-party candidate we've probably ever had.
I know.
I mean, maybe like 1850. I don't know, like the Whig, who knows? Yeah.
I didn't pay attention during those days of poli-sci, but...
Yeah. In the 1850s, you didn't pay attention?
No, okay. We talked about that. I didn't pay attention. Don't tell my mom. But I think that Ross Perot really... He was ahead of his time, just in that his ideas were...
the 30-minute infomercials, maybe not ahead of his time. Maybe... Well, I mean, ShamWow. I mean, there's a lot of infomercials now.
That's Snuggie. What I'm saying. Like, he conveyed his ideas in a way where he was like, I am focused on the principles. I don't care about the party, and I'm going to say what I think.
And a very boring but smart man. But I did see a lot of people, I think...
I should have a 30-minute infomercial of me explaining my ideas.
Nobody would watch that. That would be terrible.
Raise your hand out there.
I'm pretty sure 12 minutes dealing with you like once a week is really tough. 30 minutes would be like suicidal for me.
I'm really glad we're keeping an insult count today. The insult count is back. But all of that to say that it really was a sad loss, and I think that people, at least I, kind of forgot about Ross Perot at the end of his life. And then now that he's gone, people are looking back at his life and saying, oh, wow, he kind of forged a path for people who don't identify with parties but have something to say.
Yep. Okay.
That was a great way to end. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so keeping with the political theme, the Democratic presidential election is really heating up. I think everybody and their mother is running, and everybody's holding press conferences where they basically say nothing. But as far as the polling goes, you've been following this pretty closely.
There's so much crazy stuff going on. So first of all, the first guy dropped out yesterday. The guy from California, I don't remember his name. But he was 37, and he was in college loan debt. I know that. He said it like 45 times. So that guy, he dropped out. But yeah, I mean, so Biden seemed to have a pretty commanding lead. And it took was one debate, and he went from like 35% to it's the rest of the field now. So it's him, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was the big winner of those debates. We're not going to say our personal feelings on people, but like she was clearly the winner of those debates.
Especially with her earned media after that.
Oh, yeah.
I've just been watching people writing about her, not even her ads, and she is all over the internet.
That's right, she is. And then Bernie Sanders is still like hanging on. Another guy who has not aged, but because he looked bad to begin with. But I mean, he's not aged in the last 30 years, but it's because as a 45-year-old, he looked like he was 80.
Right.
But yeah, so he's still
his heart.
He's still hanging on there, and it's like, and then Mayor Pete's still there. Like, we just really don't know what happened.
Mayor Pete's really making a name for himself amongst the millennials.
He is. And the interesting thing is, like, it's the same thing as last time. It's like there's this clear, or I guess not last time, but 2012. Like they're like, oh, Hillary Clinton's the nominee. It was the same thing for Biden with the very clear he's going to be the nominee. Like it's weird.
Now it's a horse race,
and it happens every time. Every time I remember when it's supposed to be Rudy Giuliani, the obvious Republican. Like he was out by Florida.
I know.
Like anytime political commentators say they know what's going to happen, they very clearly don't. And then the one guy announced he's running to the whatever trillionaire green energy guy. Oh God, next gen. I can't think of his name right now.
I can't either.
Do you remember his name? No. Okay.
I know who you're talking about because I saw it on Twitter.
Tom Steyer.
Yes.
So he announced him and his $1.6 trillion or whatever, talking about taking money out of politics as he's going to spend $100 million on his own race.
Sure. So that'll be.
But it's interesting. So if you take away any of our personal perspectives on like who we like and who we don't like, it's an interesting race to watch.
Oh, absolutely. And then you've got Justin Amash, who on the 4th just said that he was leaving the GOP
and might run for president as an independent.
Yes, my introduction to an independent running for office was like Joe Lieberman. You remember?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Big Joe.
And so now you've got like independents, like the thing to do. People disenfranchised by their party.
But you get 1% elections, like you don't win.
It's happening.
Yeah, and Murkowski won Alaska too. But yeah, I don't know if he'll run for president, but it will be interesting because Trump's in this weird spot where he is not very popular personally, but people like what he's done with the economy and people like where they're at. And it's hard to argue with what the economy's been. So like you have this personal. They don't like him personally. They like his things. And then they like some of these Democrats personally, but like they don't like their policies. And then Amash is kind of a wild card who, in my opinion, would take away more from the left than the right.
I agree. Hot take, but I agree with it. Okay, so Mark and I love to talk about capitalism. It's no secret that we love to talk. We do. We talk about it several times.
I would say we love to.
Well, we talk about it.
we do talk
about it.
One
of the things that I really
she's more of a nerd than I am.
It's really that's true. I am a huge nerd. But something that hit me, right in the feels this week
is this where the feels are at? I've always wondered. Okay, so that's where the feels are. I didn't know. So it's kind of above your heart.
Right here.
That's it's like a neck heart area.
Yeah,
okay, this is the feels.
Upper body.
Well, I'll make sure my doctor checks that next time.
Check your feels. They are taking. Netflix is losing Friends and The Office.
And Friends is a show, by the way. They're not losing Friends. I mean, they're losing Friends too. I used to be a friend of Netflix, and they're two of the most popular shows on Netflix are leaving in the next couple of years. The Office is leaving, Friends leaving. They're going to different streaming services. Which honestly makes me feel like I would maybe not keep Netflix if The Office wasn't on there.
I know.
What else do I watch on there?
What else do you watch? Exactly. But
Bloodline. That's it.
I'm thinking about the streaming services I have, which this is excessive, but I have YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu. I mean,
how many do you pay for are those?
I pay for all of them.
Okay, you don't steal other people's stuff?
No, other people steal my stuff. I'm too generous. I'm changing my password, all you freeloaders. But
by the way, your computer password was interesting.
Don't.
We'll talk about that later.
But we were just talking about how all of these streaming services are kind of taking over where cable has left off. I know that when Sling came out, and Sling was the service that you could pick and choose what channels you get rather than having to pay for this whopping package of channels. Like, why would you do that? And all of these streaming services are taking over where cable's leaving off, and this just goes to show what the market can create.
That's right. My parents just got a UHD TV, some weird type of TV that looked awesome.
Never heard of it.
But they had Verizon. That's one of the choices in Pennsylvania. Like, I hate it. And I introduced them to the YouTube Live TV.
Yes.
So they are shocked by it. So they have it on their computer. You can still I
watch it on my phone.
You can watch. So you have the live television package
show. I have
the
live TV from YouTube on my phone.
And you can put stuff on the cloud. Like you can record things. Like 3 people can stream at once. Like it's so much better. And it's $50 a month.
$50 a month. It's really cool. I've been in a situation recently where I was kind of traveling through a rural area, not a lot of good radio programs, and the bad weather started, and I just pulled over YouTube TV to their local channel, and the weather guy was reporting on what was going on. And
not while you were driving, to be clear.
I pulled over.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I just wanted to know what I was dealing with, and so it's becoming this culture of everything. As we know, everything's right at our fingertips, but even with cable, which had a monopoly on television.
That's right, because of the government.
Yeah, exactly. Now we've got these innovative services that are offering money to different networks and different shows. I mean, Friends is leaving, The Office is leaving, probably because they got a better deal.
That's right.
To make more money on a different streaming service, and the streaming services are now competing against each other, which if our experience is anything and our knowledge is anything, we know that when people start competing against each other, those prices are going to go down, and that's going to be legit.
And that's right. I mean, that's capitalism. That's why you don't have Comcast anymore. One choice capitalism. Remember that.
Boom. Okay. Last thing we want to talk about is we got some.
That was weird. Yeah.
We've got some really cool things coming up at Beacon.
Oh, super cool.
Super cool. So Decaf is a spinoff of our Facebook Live show Over Caffeinated that started before Decaf did. We've talked about it before, how we have well-known guests that come on the show, and we have got some really cool guests coming up. Mark has been working so hard to get these guests. Mark, I'm going to let you.
Oh man, because I appreciate it. I'm excited about it.
I know, it's like we're having a pep rally.
So, and we have a couple of guests that are not completely confirmed yet, but are very famous singers.
And we won't. A little starstruck thinking about it.
We won't say them yet, but our next guest is Phil Valentine, who is a national radio host, very famous.
We're going to be recording that at Tailgate Brewery next week.
And you got us Tailgate, so we'll give you props for their due there. You got Tailgate. So we got Phil Valentine, who's great. We have Mayor Glenn Jacobs in September, who's Kane, the wrestler, the old WWE wrestler, and he's a very popular, famous politician over in Knox County, so he's great. And then we have the Instapundit, Glenn Reynolds. So we're going to be filming
so cool.
twice in Knox County. And explain, too, so we're going to be doing this Glenn Reynolds interview live from, was it Suttrie's? Is that what it's called?
Suttrie's High Gravity Tavern in their arcade room. So if you're in Knoxville and you want to come and meet the Beacon team and have a happy hour with us, we're going to be recording Over Caffeinated live. The info's on our Facebook, but we'll have a happy hour, grab a beer.
Two free hours of beer, right?
2 free hours of beer and snacks. We'll be recording the show. You get to meet us.
That's a negative. Don't tell them that. They don't want to meet us. No.
But I'll be there. But it's a cool way to get involved and hear what Beacon's doing and see what we're recording live right there. We're also doing a really cool thing for the mayoral election in Nashville.
Woo.
This is going to be really fun. So we are doing live election night coverage. Mark and I will be covering the mayor's election in Nashville live on Facebook on August 1st. We'll be here starting at 6 p.m. The polls will close at 7, and we'll be here as long as the results are coming in until we can call it.
And we have some really cool information that even the news stations don't have. And we're going to be doing exit polling. We are
going to the polling places and doing exit polling ourselves to see where Nashville might land before.
And there's a lot of strategy. We pick the right precincts that we know are indicative of the city. So we have a lot of stuff that even the news media doesn't have. Nothing personal, Tennessee or Channel 3, great stations. But right now, we actually are the place to watch this results come in.
And we'll be live on Facebook, so you can access it on your phone, on your computer, wherever you are. You'll be able to watch our coverage and listen to what we've got going on.
I'm going to be over caffeinated, by the way. I'm going to get a lot of energy drinks because we could be up late.
We could be up really late. We could be
and pizza. Are we going to get pizza?
I thought tacos.
Tacos sound good. Well, that's kind of messy, though, for a live show.
Maybe so.
We'll say pizza/tacos. We'll see what happens.
If anyone wants to sponsor the show by sending us the pizza.
Taco Bell, if you want to sponsor. Can we get Taco Bell sponsor?
Yeah.
Let's ask them.
Taco Bell, if you're listening, sponsor.
We don't want money, just a lot of tacos. Chalupas.
But we've got all that to say, we've got a lot of exciting things coming up. Watch us on Facebook because we're going to be putting a lot of this out. We'll also record the election night coverage and put it up as a podcast. You can listen to it later and we'll be comparing what we thought was going to happen with what actually happened live. And I think that's going to be a cool thing that not a lot of stations are going to be offering, not a lot of journalists are going to be offering.
Oh.
And that was perfect timing.
That was perfect timing.
Okay, well, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.